Some odd behavior with the YouTube stream right now. Okay. Looks like it's loading. Okay. All right. Well, good morning, everybody. Welcome to another Engineering the Markets. My name is Jared, and it is May 2nd, 2022. Happy May. And obviously, new month, new perspective, new opportunity in regards to analysis of the market. We've got a lot to cover this week. This week, although is not as heavy on the earnings side, does have a lot of economic impact in regards to some of the data drops and meeting discussions that we'll have, most notably on Wednesday, which we'll talk about near the end of the session. But as always, let's start off our week and look at what we always do, which is the expected move for the S&P 500 index. Let's also take a look at last week's performance. Relatively bearish overall session for last week, leading into a fairly significant close on Friday. And as we can see, the market was pricing in last week approximately 134 points. So the S&P had the propensity to move that full 134. It also could be seen as a possible slight breach on Friday's close, as the market was able to test that level for the first time on the week and then see a little bit of additional downside into the weekend. So our actual move from mid-level, which is Friday's close the week prior, into the end of Friday last week, was about 147. So we got a little bit more of an expected move, an actual move versus the expected. And then the weekly range, which is simply the highest high and the lowest low. You basically want to be thinking about this like the weekly candle from last week, was about 183. So the full range of trade represented a little bit more opportunity. Now, what's so important about these numbers and the impact it has for us as traders? Well, first and foremost, let's take a look at the past couple of weeks. So far, the market has been either testing the expected move to the downside, and this was a relatively low volatility range. You'll notice that this overall range here is about half the size of what we're currently experiencing. You'll note that this was another test, and this actually led to a close outside of expected move. Another widening of expected move, and that was a full week transition from high to low, and that occurred over the course of 2 days. And then, of course, last week, where most of the trade was actually centered below, last Friday's close. So basically, a lot of the trade occurred near the lower bounds of the entire expected move. So what makes this interesting? Well, for one, it shows us that the market has been getting these numbers relatively close to right in regards to expectation of movement. And as a trader, you might want to know this in regards to how you manage your trades. So for example, as someone who might be stepping into the SPY or other products that mirror the S&P, knowing a weekly expected move allows you to define your risk according to the volatility of that week. So a trader who maybe normally steps in with a shorter or smaller risk level, especially based on price, is more likely to get stopped out or just experience higher volatility facing them, as opposed to playing what the market is pricing in, which is this larger volatility range. Additionally, what it showed us last week is there was a downside risk to the market if we were to see a breach of expected move. So for example, in the S&P downside, if we touch the expected move low, that represented a technical breakdown. We were going to be losing sections of marked support if we saw this test. And more importantly, it puts us very close to at risk of the absolute low back in February of 24, or sorry, February 24th of this year. So for the week ahead, now that we're looking into what this week is pricing, it's important to look at the expected move as it is. For one, we do have an expanded expected move. The volatility has continued to rise. We are in backwardation in regards to the VIX futures. And for the S&P, this market is pricing about 168 point expected move. Now, a topside test of that expected move puts us right at 4,300. So what it does from a technical sense is it starts to put some pressure on last week's bears. Anyone who stepped in bearish last week would probably start to feel a little bit of pressure if the market were to test this topside level. But also notice that it's right on that relative edge. It's not going to put enough pressure to maybe get them out of the market until we see something like a significant breach, something much stronger. But our downside this week, let's assume that the pattern repeats for a fifth time. We've seen 1, 2, 3, 4 downside tests of the expected move. If we see a similar thing this week, the downside right now is priced at about 39.63 in regards to this week's expected move. Now remember, this is for Friday of this week, so this doesn't have to occur over the next couple of sessions. But what it does is it puts us in technical risk for the market. As we look out in time, we can see that if we were to tag this level, not only would we be losing a lot of relative support, there's obviously the break of 4,000, which is very psychological in nature, and just that whole dollar support. But it also puts the S&P at a new 52-week low. So over the past year of performance, the S&P has remained above its 52-week low back in May of last year. And this is, of course, a rolling 52-week performance. If we were to see a breach this week, it's technical in nature in regards to the downside. It's also relatively important for psychological prices, and it puts the S&P at a poor bearish sentiment overall in regards to how we've performed over the past year. So all these things are certainly weighing on the S&P from those perspectives. As we look at the SPY as well, similar notion here, that would of course be us testing things like 404, the psychological 400 print. And as I move this out in time, what you'll notice is there's something more, aspect of value in regards to if we were to move lower. And that's, of course, this area right here. This is typically defined as a volume profile pocket. It can be something like a technical gap in the market. And what you'll notice is as we look out in time, we start to see that this is actually a significant rally zone for the S&P. Zoom into this area right here. And you'll see that the S&P was breaking out in this time zone, this time frame. Move this back over slightly. There's a bit of consolidative price action on last year's rally. As we were coming into April, we had a technical breakout, and the speed of this breakout meant that the market didn't leave a lot of transactional value in this area. We really only spent like a day at each of these relative prices. And what that does is it puts a little bit of, from a volume profile perspective, a bit of downside risk to the market. If we are to lose this level, the pocket concept here, the fact that there is no transactional value in this area, means that the market could potentially fall through this area very quickly. So speed is going to be of importance as well. The size of the move and how fast we move through these prices would be a bit of a risk for not only your exposure to the market, but also for technical trade intraday. You want to be watching out for a lot of issues with potentially liquidity in the market. You might see some pretty wild volatility in between as we start to transact these areas for the first time in a while. And especially as we're looking at that 400 print, be watching for any sort of response in this area. This is, of course, assuming that we're still heading to the downside in regards to where the momentum is in the market, and of course, the fact that we are so close to our absolute low from February. So, some perspective from last week. We'll kind of shift this back into this perspective here. Was there any sector in regards to having some exposure long that protected your portfolio last week? Well, a lot of our downside is still occurring in our major market cap and higher market cap sectors. XLK, of course, the key one in regards to tech. We saw the likes of Apple and Microsoft report last week. A lot of those earnings were from the perspective of the company relatively strong, but of course, perspective is based on guidance and also the actual reaction into earnings. Microsoft with a slight gap up after earnings, giving some of that back on Friday. And then, of course, Apple Thursday into Friday, from this perspective, a technical reversal, giving all of that reaction back and slightly lower. So a lot of our big tech names are certainly down. We're seeing that downside pressure. What about healthcare? Healthcare used to be one of our potential bull sectors. Market has unfortunately reversed this trend quite heavily. And you'll notice things like loss of 20, daily trend changes, and of course, the size of the sell candles whenever you lose trend. Sometimes you can lose trend slightly, but of course, a technical bounce, a pin bar, something that indicates support will establish more range or consolidative trade. This did not do that. We cut through swing lows. We are moving precipitously back to the downside. And what you'll notice here is that even though we did have some slight all-time high breaches, this represents itself on higher time frames as a failed expansion. The market is not ready yet to move higher. And what we're seeing is a lot of these expansions get reversed. The downside picks up on these reversals as the speed of the selling continues. And these are all things you want to pay attention to in regards to where to allocate for the month ahead. What about discretionaries? Well, discretionaries look very similar to things like the Nasdaq, the S&P. Some very simple conditions here. We had some notable swing lows and some notable swing highs, boxes around the market. These are all areas of overhead supply. And as we are near the downside levels, you can see the symmetry of this market as we get into distribution style patterns, which we'll talk about a bit more this week. And then, of course, the downside volatility that we're currently experiencing, both short term and the relative pricing of previous supports. And then you just move through the list here. What about financials? Now, financials have this idea of higher interest rates. Why are financials not performing? They're obviously seeing some nasty sell swings. And once again, perspective is important here. Where's support? Right now, we don't really have a good indication of technical support, at least over the past 52 weeks. This is a 1 year, 1 day. As you bring this out, you can see that the downside is still continuing. The structure of this market has been defined, and what we need to be looking for is changes in structure. Are we in a downtrend? Absolutely. But this downtrend has wide buy swings and sell swings, leading to more channel-based trading. And of course, as the financials are hitting some relative channel-based support, what we'll be looking for is something like a technical signal, whether or not that's going to hold or even start to sell off even faster. So across the board, the market itself looks fairly weak. And you can kind of see that as an aggregate in something like RSP. If you recall, this is a equal weighted ETF for the S&P. And what it does is it smooths out the 500 companies and puts them all at about a 0.2% market cap weight for this particular ETF. So instead of Apple weighing 7 to 8%, Microsoft weighing 6 to 7, and down the list you go, every company in the S&P has the same relative weight, and therefore you can see whether the market has a good breadth to it. Are there a lot of sectors performing in one way? And then of course to the downside, the same is true. If there's poor breadth, then of course the market is more prone to downside. What you'll notice here is not only is the RSP starting to lean, but from a technical sense, we are starting to test the lower bounds of this channel. We're basically on the dance floor of the market rolling here from a breadth perspective. There's not too much in the way of at least technical support. As we get into these absolute lows, we'll see if there is another sort of bounce response. And then notice things like volume. Volume is picking up to the downside. So the momentum surely is there. The levels have been established, and what we're waiting for is what sort of test response do we get, and what is the expectation after we move through those prices. You can do this with the Nasdaq as well. Not necessarily something I'm looking at quite often, but it is a new month. These are higher time frame perspectives, and we have the past month of performance in both Nasdaq equal weight and S&P equal weight, all performing very poorly. There really isn't a lot of strength in the market as far as equities are concerned. And this is both true for risk on, along with things that a lot of consumers, perceived as protective. Things like utilities took some pretty decent downside sell swings over the past week. Staples, not necessarily losing everything from the uptrend, but starting to go into that back test mode. You'll notice things like head and shoulder structure here in regards to the upswing failing, coming back to previous swing low support, lower high bounce, and a turn of trend. This occurred on Friday. Very notable change of trend here. This is simply indicative that the weekly consolidation is likely underway. So portions of the market from last week, areas of the market that have been underperforming, and overall aspects of sector performance are simply not in play right now to the long side. There's less sector rotation, more correlation. Market is starting to really buy or sell in waves, especially on the intraday session. You'll notice things like advanced decline in the S&P are often fully bullish on one day or fully bearish on another day. Very powerful signals that we're still in volatility. Usually when we're like this, volatility hedging is in play. And even though we haven't necessarily been breaching expected move, the volatility has been driving a lot of price action. And this is, of course, indicative of what we just looked at with the VIX, along with the VX futures. From last week, they did enter into backwardation. So your active contracts here priced at 32.15. And then, of course, your June contracts slightly out in time, priced lower. So the market perceives more risk in the short term than it does into the future. This is all very typical things that we see and we've seen recently. they're also relatively unstable. What we can eventually anticipate is the idea that this can start to come off. Ideally, it would be in some technical area of resistance for the VIX. And even though we haven't seen that signal yet, this is still very much trending to one side. Looking for those signals, preparing for an eventual shift, and then of course trading it like we would any sort of trade signal. These are all things that are on the deck for the next couple of weeks. So as far as what this week has in store, what are some things you can be looking out for? Well, here is our trading terminal from Bearable Traders. I'm on the calendar section and I'm looking at earnings. So one thing to note is we are not necessarily out of earnings, but we're out a lot of the heavy hitters for earnings. There's definitely going to be some intraday stocks in play. There's going to be some possible sentiment plays, but overall, the big market cap names are complete. We'll have a couple sort of sprinkled in, and of course, perspective is important. We're done with all of our $1 trillion companies. Now we're looking more in the $100 to $500 billion companies for the week ahead. So looking at today, not too much in regards to heavy hitters. You'll not really recognize a lot of these names, maybe semiconductor, maybe Expedia in regards to travel. You want to be looking at possible indications of sentiment and consumer spending on semiconductor, maybe FANG for energy, MGM, and Clorox, along with Mosaic for fertilizer play. As we look at Tuesday and just go down this list, what I'm doing here is simply sorting by market cap. And what you'll notice is not too much on the morning session. Market cap tends to be relatively low for Tuesday morning's listings. And not a lot of familiar names either. So a lot of these are either, lower volume traders, probably something not as in focus. But you go into, always make sure you're on the first page. As you go into the aftermarket close session, AMD stands out. This is probably one of our biggest market cap names coming out this week. Starbucks and Airbnb. Once again, consumer spending, discretionary, and travel. What is the market looking for as regards to the summer months of travel, and what sort of spending habits have been shifting with the inflation that the economy is experiencing? And you can kind of pick a few here out: Match Group, maybe OKE for energy, and Skyworks for possible semi play. As you go into Wednesday, and this will probably be the last one I'll look at for the moment, we can certainly look at this later this week. Shifting back into that market cap perspective, Booking Holdings. Now, this one's not necessarily something you want to trade intraday, but keeping an eye on companies with high market cap that have relative impact to both their movement into earnings, along with the sentiment that they provide. So Booking Holdings here, definitely one to keep an eye on, not only for the reaction, but maybe the actual conference call. What is the actual company reporting, and what sort of perspective does it provide? Uber, eBay, not really too much here that I can actually call out. Realty income for real estate. Let's get back into the morning session. CVX, you'll notice here the largest market cap is not something of high familiarity. Moderna, I think we missed Pfizer. Yeah. So for some reason, I didn't see Pfizer on the morning session. I must have been on the wrong page. So Pfizer Tuesday, BP, and maybe Marathon Petroleum for energy. So what I'm mostly saying here is that there are certainly some names to keep an eye on. There's not going to be the big movers and shakers this week. That theme will mostly continue for the rest of this earnings. even out into next week, there's not going to be something that's going to have a big market impact, but there's certainly a lot of names that you want to keep an eye on. And, we'll talk more about that as the week moves forward. So last but not least, what else is coming up this week? Well, we do have the Fed meeting starting later this afternoon. Make sure my time frame is right. So this is Monday. Looks like it doesn't show the start of the meeting here, but the meeting is starting later this afternoon. I'm just cycling through, just making sure I'm not missing it here. Yeah, so it's not we will know information about this meeting come Wednesday. So at 2 p.m. market time on Wednesday, keep in mind that you want to pay attention to the Fed press conference and overall decision. So for this meeting, they are looking to, looks like the audio is starting to come off a little bit. That's okay. I'm going to wrap up here. But basically, for this meeting, we are looking at pretty much a guarantee of a 50-point basis rate hike. If the market gets anything that's out of the ordinary, whether it be lower or higher, that has not necessarily been priced in by the market. This is coming from Fed Fund futures contracts. So this pricing is not bias or opinion. It is based on market data. And therefore, the market is anticipating 50 basis points with pretty much 100% certainty. If we get anything different, that is going to be a surprise. Same idea without into the next meeting. Currently, this is sitting at the highest probability for 50 basis points, and that assumes 50 for this meeting, and so on and so forth as you move out in time, more uncertainty, and this starts to smooth out into more of a bell curve-like shape. Now, you also might want to pay attention to what is the Fed doing with its balance sheet? What is the propensity of speed of reduction? They're obviously looking to reduce their balance sheet. We haven't heard too much or seen any impact yet for the Fed reducing these numbers. We definitely want to be listening into that and see what they say in regards to their expectation. So these are all things to pay attention to this week. SPX expected move, low market breadth, indicative of a lot of correlation, but also indicative that if we get something that changes sentiment, that correlation can shift in both ways. It can be both bullish and bearish intraday and even into sort of short covering rallies back to the upside. Keep an eye on sector performance, and overall keep an eye on your earnings and your Fed reaction come Wednesday. But overall, we have plenty to look at, plenty to trade. This week is going to be pretty jam-packed. So as always, my name is Jared. This is Engineering the Market. Trade safe. Have a good one. We'll look at a little bit of this more throughout the week and talk about the monthly performance, and also shift back into some of our technical discussions from about a week ago. So till then, trade safe.
All right. Good morning, my friends. Welcome to the pre-market prep. I hope everyone's having an amazing morning. Hopefully, you guys had an incredible weekend. Good morning, Norm. How you doing today?
Hey, good morning, brother. I'm doing well. I don't think we're on in the room though.
Oh, no, we are not. We are not as far as audio. There we go. Check audio in the room. We
Yep,
should.
we're good now.
All right, perfect. All right, guys, welcome. Hopefully everybody had an amazing weekend. Um, Guys, let's get to it. Gappers list this morning. We are looking at, well, before we do that, let's just back up a little bit. Let's give Jared a nice thumbs up over on YouTube. We
Yeah,
appreciate him coming
for
on
sure.
every morning and going through all the information there. So thank you, Jared, for that. All right, perfect. Now let's
And
take a look.
shout out, thank you to Peter for covering me last week.
Yes, Peter coming in there Thursday and Friday, doing a great job. So thank you, Peter, as well. Um, all right, guys, here we have our gappers list today. Couple of things in the green, a couple of low flows. I think that's red box. Not sure what
Yep.
CYN is. VRU has been making some noise last week and the week before, I believe. So we'll see what's happening there today. And a couple of others. On the down list, we do have a couple of Chinese stocks I see here, Billy, Neo, Lee. So we'll take a look at that. And also DWAC, Oxy, and Save. All of these we looked at some point in the last couple of weeks. We're very familiar with some of these tickers, except VAX. Don't know what that is, but we'll find out shortly. All right, guys. With that said, overall market data, Norman, what's going on, latest and greatest?
Yeah, man. I mean, we've got S&P Global not global manufacturing PMI out at 945, and then ISM Manufacturing Index at 10, and along with construction spend. Big news this week is that the FOMC, the Fed, will be meeting tomorrow and Wednesday for their 2-day meetings that they do 8 times a year, and announce policy decision Wednesday, as they always do. The statement will come out at 2 p.m. Eastern, followed by the Jay Powell press conference at 2:30. So it is everybody has their money on a 50 basis point or 0.5% raise, and cutting their balance sheet. It's part of what's brought the party to an end recently, and helped turn markets down along with inflation and everything else. So we'll see if that is true to form. As Jared mentioned, if it's anything other than that half a point move, it really could be interesting in the markets, but I doubt that'll happen. They've pretty much already said that's what they're going to do. Um, yeah, so let's see how it goes. Last week was interesting. I know I was out. I was completely away from the markets. I had to rest my head for a couple of days. Life gets to you sometimes, stress gets to you. So my wife's like, why don't you just go fishing for a couple of days and chill? So I did, and she was kind enough to let me do that. And Yeah, so I missed some wild moves at what 900 point drop. That, of course, that's the
Yes.
headline. That's the headline you see. I mean, the Dow is essentially meaningless, but whenever you watch the news, they the not even not CNBC or anything like that. I'm just talking about your CBS or NBC or ABC
Right, right,
5:30, 6:30
right.
p.m. news, and the national news. They always talk about the Dow. So when it starts getting up around 1,000 point loss, people take notice. The average people take notice, get worried about their 401ks and such. So let's see how it plays out. The drop this morning, when I woke up today quite early and saw that the SPY was up a bit, I was shocked. I thought that could have been maybe the easiest short of all time, but I did not get in here to do anything about it. And
Yeah, yeah.
that's where we sit. So,
That is so funny because that is usually when my friends and family will call me say, "Hey, are you okay?" They have no concept as far as day trading and what I do. So to them, it's like everything has to go long for it to be good, or if it's
yeah,
going south, it's bad, right? There's just no
yeah,
concept of shorting and none of that stuff. And I
yeah.
gladly do not get into it. um,
Oh, tell me
uh,
about it.
oh yeah. All right, guys. Let's get to our list this morning. We'll remove some of the stuff from yesterday. Not yesterday, Friday. So we'll get rid of that. And I did that the older way. So we'll put some rows back in here so we can make our watch list here show up. Let's hide our account information. You know what? No, we'll leave it for now. All right, let's go ahead and what am I doing here? Linking our bottom charts. Here we go. Is that linking or what? Hmm. Why is it not linking? AMD. Oh, that's my bad. My bad. All right. It's the top one that's not linked. There we go. Now that's linked. Perfect. AMD. All right. Let's click on RDBX this morning. What do we have here? RDBX at the moment, we are up 17%. This is a Red Box Entertainment, guys. The what is it? The machines. What's it called? Vending machines for
Yeah.
movies. Not sure what else they're doing that's causing them to pop
Well,
this
they're
morning.
trying to. I mean, this has been going on for several days. They're
Yeah.
trying to transition, rethink their company. They've had some leadership changes, big leadership changes. I think this is what the CEO left, CFO left. Not the CEO. Maybe the CEO did too. But the latest headline was on the 25th that the CFO was transitioning. So yeah, we'll see. We'll see. I mean, this has been fairly beaten down since it
Yeah.
de-SPACed last October. So
I agree. It's just interesting on how are you going to reinvent your business? Like, what are you going to do if your main business is kiosk, right? Movie kiosk. I mean, I just don't know how you reinvent something different, but it will be interesting to see. Guys, they're looking pretty good right now. 4.8 million shares traded. They're up 19%, and obviously this has been paying off for them because if you look at the last couple of days, you can see here the increase in volume, and you have a couple of days running up pretty nicely. Today's pre-market action does look very good for a low flow of 8 million shares. So we'll put them down here. Definitely the low flow of the day so far right now. We'll put him down here at RDBX. CYN, CYN. Now this one here, we're up 11.6, 928,000. Very interesting daily. I mean, just look at the daily here. Every day has been ended green. Volume, though, I'm just not sure about this. It's not ending with it might be ending with some decent volume.
yeah,
I'm not sure, man.
this
It
is
doesn't
a
look good.
it's a lower float. 7.5 million on Trade Ideas. Finviz has it at 25, but regardless, still not a very large float, even if it's the full 25. On I believe April 21st, you see if on the daily, you see it starting to pop. They announced some news on autonomous driving technology and hardware, and they've been running essentially ever since.
All right. So again, on the fence on this one, guys. I'll put it on here. I definitely like Redbox a whole lot better if I'm going to be watching any of these low flows. I think this needs a little more juice to get going. Let's head on down to HR today, and
No, let's not.
no, no. Let's go straight through HR.
It's a REIT.
Yeah, it just looks horrible, guys. I mean, it's just nothing going on here, nothing to see. Heading down to VREU, and today we are up 5.6, but this is an ugly 5.6, guys. This is not looking good at all. Pre-market activity looks all over the place. Even on the daily, I mean, you had a couple of really good days with some very, really good volume. I'm not seeing anything great on this right now, so I'm not
So
sure if this is
so
one I'm playing.
this is the one that popped. It's the oral COVID treatment.
Yeah.
The FDA granted them pre-emergency use authorization meeting date for something along those lines. So that's why it's just started popping here since 8:30. That's when that news dropped.
Gotcha. I mean, hey, listen, that can be significant news and that can do something. I'm not sure. I'm gonna keep it off my list for now, guys. If you guys see something good, throw it back out to me. But for now, I'm just gonna keep it off the list. Let's look at ON today. So ON is no, not looking good. Horrible pre-market activity. No volume. Oh, no. Let's go down, see what's capping down today.
This
VA,
is and
yeah.
Simmies, and they had earnings this morning. They beat. They're up a
Mm-hmm.
little bit, but like you said, it's kind of a nasty trader with a bad spread. But it might get other Simmies moving,
Yeah.
possibly. I don't know. AMD reports tomorrow, I believe. So
That'll be good.
might get
Looking
some
forward to
sympathy
that.
in there somewhere.
Yeah. Yep. All right, let's take a look at what's capping down today. We have VAX today. They are down 10%, leading the way. Not looking too good. Big day on Friday. What did they do Friday? Let's go here to Friday. No, that's going too slow. Let's go Friday. All right, so they had some action Friday, looks like. Nothing in the morning, then midday, something happened here and it got going, but this still looks horrible. Yeah, I'm not a fan of it, guys. Maybe it gets better later, but at the moment, not a big fan of what I'm seeing.
They had news last week on Parkinson's disease trial, and then
Mhm.
they got a fast track designation on an Alzheimer's treatment.
Yeah,
We've discussed what happens with these companies and their
yeah,
Alzheimer's treatments. They usually
yeah.
pop really hard and then seem to give everything back
They
because
never hold for the most part. We haven't seen one
it's crazy.
uh, that holds that move. It just comes right back down. So I'm not a fan on the second day here. Let's go to save and save. What do we have? They're doing earnings in 2 days from now.
Yeah,
But
that's
yeah.
not so they um this is Spirit. Spirit
Hmm.
is taking over Frontier, merging with Frontier.
Yeah.
JetBlue came in and tried to acquire them. This morning, it has come out that the board rejected the JetBlue takeover because they don't think it will be approved by the government.
Oh, okay.
So that's why they're dropping.
Gotcha. All right, so they're down here 8.1 right now this morning. It, it could be interesting. It's looking good on the 5 there. Yeah, let's see what happens. Let's do save here for now. Heading down, we have a couple of Chinese stocks. Billy, we have Neo, we had Lee here. It's dropped off, but that's okay. Let's take a look at these two. Billy right now. Billy has a nice drop, down 5.8, 368,000, and so does Neo here. Neo's looking really good at 1 million shares traded already, down pretty nice. Daily looks okay. I definitely like Neo today. We have not had Neo on our list for a while, but today they're looking pretty good. Billy, not so much. I'm gonna keep them off for now. Maybe a possible, if that. I know Billy can trade very well. We have traded this in the past. Heading down HTA. No, this is no good. Just again, no volume here. Horrible pre-market action. Heading down to PFE. I'm not a big fan of the way PFE trades. They're down 2.6 today. And I'm not seeing Nate that's going to say, you know what, you got to have this on your list today. I don't see that on PFE. I'm not sure what the catalyst is. I'm just not a big fan. They do have earnings coming out tomorrow, so maybe on the 4th, this will be fun to trade. Um, but you know what? Looking at the daily though, they got an interesting gap down here. So I don't know what came out today. Just a couple of days before earnings that's causing this. That could be interesting on there. So, um, I don't know.
They had
Maybe,
news about a
yeah,
COVID treatment pill, not their vaccine, but a
yeah.
treatment that I guess that if you get, they came out and said, and I may be off just a little bit here, but I think it was along the lines of if you were exposed to COVID and coming down with COVID and you began taking their pill after exposure and you got COVID, you could still give it to other people. They thought maybe there was a chance that wasn't the case. That like,
Oh,
if
yeah.
if I got COVID and I started taking this, that I couldn't spread it to my family if I was at my house or whatever. So
Hmm.
apparently
Hmm.
that's not the case. They're getting hit on that a little bit.
Yeah, yeah,
Hate trading Pfizer, but
yeah. Agreed. Agreed. They're getting hit nicely today, so we'll see there.
Harry said it's the morning after pill for COVID.
Let's heading
Yikes.
down to gold ETF there. Again, I usually don't keep this on my list. There's other better ETFs than this one, but this is tradable. I've seen some people take a couple of swigs and stuff on that.
This is just ahead. This is
Yeah.
Barrick Gold. This is not an ETF. This is a
No,
company,
yeah,
a
yeah.
gold miner in Canada. But
Yeah, that's
yeah,
what I'm saying. That
I don't
there's
like
better
trading the
ETFs. Yeah, I mean
the
not better
ETF.
ETFs. Yeah, exactly right. Right. I'd rather trade ETF than this one. It just doesn't get great volume. There was just one here. What ticker was on there? There was something on here that just popped off, um, just a second ago. Oh, all right. It is what it is. But there was definitely something under gold that I wanted to see what that was, but can't think about it. All right. Let's see if it
Was it
recorded it here.
XBEV?
No, I don't know what it was, but I clicked on it and it quickly
XBEV's
did.
up now. I don't think
Oh
yours is
yeah.
now. Yeah. Anyway,
Not sure if it was this, but anyway, XBEV right now. I like Neo a whole lot better. They got tons of volume, so we'll keep that on deck there. Okay, all right. DWAC pop dropped off. All right, could have been that one. That's okay. Let's get to our list here. Norm, what do you like this morning? I know you've been, took a break from the markets Thursday and Friday. But do you see anything that's like, this is looking decent for today?
I mean, after seeing what happened on Friday, I'm
Yeah.
kind of liking the big name macro kind of ideas, the Apples,
Mm-hmm.
AMDs, Facebooks, stuff like that. ATVI, Peter has a good point with ATVI. So ATVI was up a good amount this morning because I believe, Berkshire had their annual meeting over the weekend. And I believe that Warren Buffett mentioned something about scooping up more ATVI.
ATBI.
But it popped this morning and then it's selling off a little bit, but it should be in play today. It was on the gappers earlier before it came back down under 2%.
Yeah, yep, absolutely. You said one before ATVI. I was answering a question on YouTube, but what's that one?
What's that?
What was the ticker before you said ATBI?
XPEV?
Was it XPEV?
Oh, I said I just listed off keeping an eye on Apple, AMD, and Facebook after
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. Sorry about that. I
market
started
getting
answering.
crushed on Friday.
Yep, answering something there on YouTube. But yeah, Apple, definitely gotta keep an eye on Apple. Look at the action yesterday in AMD, of course. I mean, and AMD reports, when is it? It's this
Tomorrow,
week.
I believe.
It's tomorrow. Guys, you can always take a look over at tradingterminal.com. It gives you access to a bunch of stuff on there. So tradingterminal.com, you can come down over here to where's earnings news? No.
It's calendar.
Calendar. Yep, calendar has earnings. And let's see here. We got a couple of things coming up. Jared went through some of this earlier today. I think Expedia, right? This will be interesting. Expedia got a couple of travel companies. We want to see how they're doing. A lot of the big hitters happened last week. A lot of big tech stuff. But we got still some interesting stuff like AMD,
It's a lot of
Starbucks.
oil.
Yeah. Starbucks is fun on earnings. I noticed when we trade Starbucks that they can tend to do pretty well. Uber, not so
AB&B
much.
could be interesting.
Yes, another one as well in that travel sector. See how those guys picking up with everything kind of getting back to normal there. Yeah, got a few tons of oil stuff, like you said. Yeah, should be interesting. This stuff doesn't trade so well though. So I think the most fun of earnings might be past us, but you never know. All right, let's go ahead and take a look at our chat room, guys. What do you guys like today? Let's start with where's my chat? What did I do with the chat room?
I think it's funny. Go back to Trading Terminal. We're still in beta mode a little bit, and they've tweaked a lot of things and helped fix it. But it's pretty funny if you go there and you see all these company logos, and then I see Snoopy. Which one is that? Is that a
MetLife? That's MetLife Insurance.
Yeah, that makes sense. So it's pulling that from somewhere else instead of their logo. But my favorite is on Friday. You've got all these logos, and then you've got Carl Icahn with the Sears Portrait Studio pose.
What is it, like LinkedIn profile picture?
I don't know, man.
Oh man, great stuff. Fun. All right, guys, let's take it over to our chat room here. And by the way, guys, because I know this is easy to miss, and we got a little bit of time. If you are in Trading Terminal, if you click on this little button here, you get that Benzinga news alert. So take advantage of that, guys. You can click that on there. Again, don't be surprised if sometimes it's not working. Again, this website is beta, but we're definitely moving forward, making improvements every day on this. So take advantage of that. All right, let's go ahead and take a look at our chat room and see what you guys like this morning. We'll start with Enrico. Let's start there. You're giving us Facebook. Yeah, I think Facebook will be fun to keep an eye on today. Maybe a possible, not a heavy pre-market activity, but it is early on a Monday. That can change, right? Save, we do have Mr. T, so thank you. Heading down, Ben, you're giving us Baba. Baba was great last week, man. Beautiful gap up. And again, I know the market's sold off and whatever the case may be, but Norm, you and I know that when Baba gaps up like this, it tends to trade very well towards the downside. You saw that on Friday, so that is nice. We have Tesla already, so that's good. Another one there, Mr. G, thank you. Heading down, SPY's about to pop it open. We'll see what happens there for sure. We'll scroll up in case I miss anything. Tunde, ATVI, we do have. AMD, Apple, we're good. Oxy, yes, I meant to look at Oxy. Phil also on YouTube gave us Oxy as well. So I'm going to take a look at that. And I think this was the one that was on the gappers list for a bit and disappeared. Yes, this was it. Because you can see here, it's just coming to that 2%. So it should be coming up here on our gappers list shortly. Oxy could be interesting. A lot of oil companies reporting this week. So yeah, Oxy will be fun, I think. Let's keep it as a paso for now. I do like the daily on it. We're at the bottom of the big range, right? You got this range here that's been going to I want to say 2-3 level tier range there, and then you got the big one up here, right? So which has been just kind of flirting around these levels here, sometimes the top, bottom, or the bottom's range. But we've been in this range, 62.54. Last week, we did below this a little bit, we bounced right back up. So this is a very interesting level for Oxy. Looking forward to that. All right. What else do we have, guys? Let's take a look here over on YouTube. Did I miss anyone? Oxy, we have good. Neo, we have gold. I don't like the ticker gold, but it's better or much better to watch an ETF. And QCOM. Was QCOM reporting last week, I think, right? When did QCOM report? I believe it was last week. I don't recall. But yeah, they had a big Thursday and Friday, guys. Big Thursday and Friday on QCOM.
Reported Thursday.
Thursday, right?
27th, so whatever that was.
Yeah, I think they're going to be back to reality. And what I mean by that is I don't think you're going to be getting anything crazy out of them anymore. I think this was when you got some volume, got a pop and a drop. I think the next moves are going to be just overall market moves based on the Qs and the SPY. And trust me, we got better stocks to watch than QCOM for that. We got AMD, we got Apple, Tesla, even Tesla. We got better stocks that are going to trade a whole lot better if their only catalyst is the market dropping them down. So Penny, TQQ is a short. Is this a short or long? I forget which one is this, but this is a leverage.
Long Qs.
The long Qs, right?
It was short Qs, leverage, both of them.
Right. Why didn't they just do LQQQ? Why didn't they just do that? Why they got to put a T in there and mess us up? And then you got SQQQ. I'm sure there's a reason for it.
Maybe it stands for to the moon. I don't know.
There you go, to the moon, to the QQQs here. Yeah, you can watch this. Remember, this thing is three times leverage?
It's triple leverage. That's why it's a T. To answer your question, I was joking.
That makes sense. Okay, here we go. So yeah, that makes sense. But yeah, just be careful, guys. Triple leverage there. So this will move 3 times whatever the overall market, the Qs are doing. So keep that in mind. But yeah, you could trade this if you like. I know Andrew's been on this one quite a bit. This is definitely something you can watch when the market is moving the way it is. So, all right, let's go. Thank you guys, Triple. Yep, perfect. Let's go ahead and take a look at our community events and announcement coming up for this week. And we will come back and fine tune this list, guys.
All right. Just a reminder, quick rundown for the week. You got swing trading with Brian, 2:30 on Mondays, usually, if he's around. And then onboarding at 7 with Carlos. Technology at 8 p.m. Monday. Then trade reviews with Eamon at noon on Tuesday and Thursday. Success webinars Tuesday night. Psychology webinars Wednesday evening. Mentorship Thursday at 11. 4. It's really 4 o'clock, especially during earnings. He'll be on and then does the actual session at 4:30. And then with Ed and then Thor at 8 p.m. and Jared's crypto session 11 a.m. And here we go, a little bit more of a breakdown. That onboarding is available to everybody, even if you're a trial member, 7 p.m. Eastern, Monday. And then immediately following, you've got the technology webinar. This week is Kyle with his DAS Trader Pro Q&A, also talking about the newest DAS version and what was updated. That's at 8 p.m. Eastern. It's not listed on the site what's for next week, so I apologize for that. For strategy tomorrow night, Artie's going to talk about implied volatility, and then the following week, VPA Part 2 with Thor, both at 8 p.m. Eastern. Psychology this week is Dr. Kenneth Reed talking about the humble trend line, and then next week is Creda, 5 p.m. Eastern because of her time zone, talking about how to neutralize pressure while trading. As I mentioned, mentorship at 11 a.m. on Thursday, 4 p.m. with Ed, 8 p.m. with Thor. Don't forget about stocktradingsimulator.com, our free web-based trading replay simulator. Go there, check it out. And you get homework assignments a couple times a week. Point you in the right direction of what times and tickers to look at. Makes it a little bit easier. Also, if you're watching on YouTube, haven't been in the room, you can go to bearbulltraders.com. On the homepage, scroll down about halfway, you'll see that test drive button. Click it, fill it out, use the promo code PreMarket24. It'll get you a discount off the 7 calendar day trial. And then if you want access to all the webinars we are describing, Spring 50 is half off. the annual week membership.
All right, Norm. Thank you very much, my friend. Guys, let's get back to our watch list then. What we have so far.
Phil
Save.
over on YouTube, I
Yeah.
just want to point out, he's saying TQQQ is a dream to trade. I like trading TQQQ, and I'll tell you, you got SQQQ, which is the inverse, the short version of it. I prefer to short TQQQ than trade SQQQ. It trades better in my mind. Just pointing that out. So, Phil, you are correct.
Nope. So yeah, guys, right now we have a couple of things in here. We're looking at Save, which has some movement there, down 8%. Neo has great volume, keeping that one. ATVI, this one could be a little funky, but again, today they could be very, very interesting. So definitely going to keep an eye on that one. Tesla, guys, has been just insane. So definitely going to watch that. That's going to be in play today. I think that's going to be in play for a long time. Tesla, the way he's been trading. Apple for sure. I mean, Apple's daily, guys. Just look at this daily here. Look what we're seeing. Look at the increase in the size of these candles, the movements overall, right? So it's very wide movements compared to what we had. Well, of course, we cannot forget about the 14-day green day streak here. Even on gap down days, this thing managed to get green. It's just insane. A lot of fun there. But you can see here, these candles are much, much wider. So you definitely have a lot going on here. 1.4 million shares traded. So the volume is there. I think Apple's going to be a good one. Now, keep in mind, guys, sometimes these tickers, when they got all this volume pre-market, that first 15, 30 minutes, you might not have the best trading there. It might be very choppy as people try to figure out, okay, where's the overall market going to move, and people are transacting, their shares back and forth. You might just need to wait a little bit. You might just need to wait a couple of minutes, let this thing settle down, and then take the action based on where it's going, right? So just keep that in mind. AMD also looking good. Love the daily. AMD has not been having so much fun. Earnings coming up in calendar here. What do we have tomorrow? Tuesday earnings for AMD. So looking forward to that as well. All right. So I think we got a pretty decent list. On the possibles, we got Billy, we got PFE, which I like the daily on PFE. We'll see. We'll keep a close eye on that one. I think Facebook is another good one as well. And we also have Oxy there, which again, we have this nice, the bottom of the range right now at 54 and losing it there down 2%. I think that could be that could be very interesting. Also, we might move that up. Let's see. All right, let's get to some levels. We'll start with Save, low of the pre-market. We are looking at 2081. Towards the top of the pre-market, we have 2660. And then let's head over to the left. Couple of levels here within the high and the low of the pre-market, right? You got the highs and lows of the last two trading days. Previous day close towards the bottom here, just in case, because that is where the price action has decided to kind of settle at the moment. 2337, clearly a level there, clearly a level of support and resistance around that 2237. And then towards the bottom of that, we have a nice level at 1947. And the way, I know this might seem far out, but the way this thing's moving today, not so much, guys. I mean, we got from 2660 to 21 to 2081. So that's a big move right there already, almost $5, $6. Yeah, that's a nice move. Another $3, $4 is not a far stretch on this. So let's see how things are going to go. So that's what we have it there on Spirit Airlines. Neo this morning showing some really good volume. We are down here at about 2.6, low of the pre-market 1620. So slamming a level there towards the bottom. Let's just put some key levels here. We do have 1524, obviously all the way down here at 13. I don't think that's going to be reachable today. You need something really big for that to happen. 1389 as well. I don't see that being done today. 1524, maybe 1524. We'll have to check. And then towards the top, guys, plenty highs and lows from the last two trading days. You're pretty much set there. Do not need to add anything else. ATBI, again, a little quiet right now after this pop over to the high of the pre-market at 78.80. But this will be a good one after the market open. We'll see how this is going to play out. And then towards the bottom, highs and lows from the last two trading days. Towards the top, around 78, you have a couple of days opening, closing, using that as resistance. So 78.04, we'll use that there as well. And I think you're pretty much set. Very, very ugly daily chart, by the way. It doesn't look great, but today they got some stuff going on that could make them very, very interesting. So, All right, we'll leave that there for now. Tesla, I mean, Tesla's is just madness. Today, low of the pre-market, we're looking at 844. So we'll slam a level there. And then we'll head towards the bottom here. We're looking at 760. Yeah, 760, another level of support and resistance there, and more support than anything. And one more here at around, it's probably going to be 800. You know, Tesla love these whole dollar numbers, whole hundred numbers, might say. 800 might be the one there as well. Towards the top, it's going to put down the high of the pre-market over at 888.25 or 47. And I think out of that, you're pretty much good there. Volume is picking up, 842 right now. Let's see if this continues. Apple, great stuff happening at Apple. I love the daily candles getting very wide here. We're getting some really good movements out of Apple. Right now, we are down almost 0.5%, 1.4. Low of the pre-market, you're setting it at 156.13. Below that, if you were to take a dive here, we're setting 154. And then obviously a nice level all the way down here at 150. I don't think we'll get there today. That's not happening unless something major goes wrong. Towards the top, you're pretty much surrounded by the highs and lows of the last two trading days at the moment. Towards the top, I do see a nice level over at 160, 150. You can slam a level there, and I think you're pretty much set when it comes to Apple. Here is AMD, guys. So AMD getting some major support over at 85. Really trying to stay above this. I mean, it is holding for dear life here, I think. But we're slamming right under that previous day close, just a little bit. We'll see if we can hold. The lows from 2 days ago is pretty much what I'm going to use for the low of the pre-market. I think that's a better level than the actual low of the pre-market at the moment. Heading to the left, what's the next level below this 85.42 we're getting here? Man, we have not been down here. So that is your 52-week low right there. So right here, no, not that one. This low right here, a couple of days ago. Right, so that's your 52-week low. We have not seen these type of levels since July, maybe June. Hold on, can we go back here? There we go. We're looking right here, 2021 June, July timeframe. So right there, we got some pretty good levels of resistance around 82.25. Look at that there. That's a nice level of resistance. Then later becomes support. Just a beautiful takeoff there. That can now become support as well for today. But your low of your 52 week is going to be actually this one right on here. So I'm going to mark that down, 84.04. Again, AMD is just trying to hold on here after trading above 100 for a very long time, coming back down to 85 at the moment. So all right, that is our list, guys. Secondary list, we have Billy. I have PFE, which daily looks pretty interesting. Facebook could be nice, trying to get into the green. That is looking good there. I have Oxy as well, which I like the daily on Oxy also. I'm hoping others will be watching these and call out something if they see something there. And we have RDBX, which is up 17%. Again, nice day on Friday. Continuing today again, so that's always good. That just means that the catalyst and the momentum is carrying over, which is nice. So let's just get some levels in here and be ready. High of the pre-market 750. Towards the bottom, we are looking at 531. And I think that is all you really need right now, right? Towards the top of that, let's see if we have some significant levels. We might have something around 848. On these type of stocks, more important for me is going to be the price action. What is that price action doing towards those whole dollar numbers? And how's the momentum and how is the volume going? So pretty good there. CYN, no, not so much. I'm going to remove this one, guys. I like the 1.3 million. I don't like this. I don't like the pop we had here to $7 almost, coming back down to 610 and now kind of selling off below the VWAP. That is not fun. That has a sign of just bad stuff. So I don't like it at all. All right, excellent, guys. We are all set. 908. Any questions? Anything we can get to? Our moderators put their list together. Anything we can cover before we move on here? We'd love to take care of any questions anyone might have. Netflix, yeah. What's going on with Netflix? Go on, Brian. Let's take a look at Netflix here. Just insane. Yeah, in the green slightly here. Not crazy volume, but this Netflix is always fun to watch. I think it is going to be for some time here, especially with everything going on. It's just that catalyst might not really be in play today, but we'll love to see how Netflix ends the the day today. We're gonna go back to this 185 every week. Seems like we've been making a new low here. So very very interesting there. They dropped Ozark after earnings. Yeah, they're trying to revive, trying to revive um, their numbers there. We'll see. We'll see. They're gonna need more than that, man. They're gonna need more than that. And the problem is, and as we have a little time here, and we get our moderators list together, not the problem, but they drop all the episodes already. So my wife and I went through two over the weekend. And we'll be done with it before the weekends. Just watching one here and there, and then we probably won't be logging into it no more, right? So I'm sure a lot of people, we still have the membership. A lot of people do that and then they cancel their membership. So that's not going to help them, and that's one of the things that other streaming platforms do not do. Other streaming platforms, they'll carry you on week and week and week after week. So they build that like, oh well, I gotta wait till next week now. So there is something to that. And guess what? People are not going to be canceling their membership when it's something on a weekly basis if the show is that good, right? It was kind of like the last show that did that was the HBO one. That was massive. Um, that's an older one, but that was a pretty good one that went on for like 8 seasons or something. All right, what else we got, guys? Nvidia also near a good support. Nvidia. Let's take a look at Nvidia. I have Apple and AMD, so I'm gonna keep those for now. Nvidia, yes, they look very good as well. Very similar to AMD, but Nvidia does look good. So yeah, you can watch either one. I already have Apple and AMD. I'm not gonna add one more on the main list, but Nvidia has been trading very well. Yes, there it is, Harry. Harry, Game of Thrones. Yep, yep. That was on a weekly basis. You were not canceling your membership on HBO for if you were watching that. You were definitely not doing that, and you had to wait 1 week, right? So we'll see. We'll see. They're trying to make changes, reinvent themselves. We'll see how it goes. Try to see if there's anything else that we can cover, but if we are good, we'll get to our moderators lineup in just a second. I have Tiffany, I have Thor, with their list already there, so that's good. Maybe they can partner with Redbox. I don't think Redbox has anything to offer to Netflix. Look at LSIT. Let's take a look at LSIT. LSIT this morning. Man, LSIT has LSIT like dropped off the face of the earth. Well, I mean, this stock was trading much much better, getting insane volume here. I mean, we thought it was going to be staying up there along the side of Neo and XPEF, but they've really come down back to reality, man. They're back down here at 17, right? They haven't been doing well for a while. I guess this was just a little bit of hype at the moment, and they're just back down here with no volume whatsoever. I mean, a lot of EVs dropped off. To be fair, all the EVs took a hit. Let's compare this chart to Neo, right? But Neo's still got volume. Loose is not getting volume. And that's the difference, right? That's the difference. Loose is still keeping up their volume. These guys, what they did here, they're doing 34. What is it? No, less. Around 20 on an average. Yeah, that's a big drop. Neo has been falling apart of a lot of EVs, but their volume is still keeping up like 60, 84. So somehow they managed to keep heavy volume on there. Anyone other than year plus member noticed their star disappeared? What star?
The star by their name.
Oh, yes.
Huh. Weird. I don't know. We'll have to ask.
Yeah. I mean, I see them here, but yeah,
there was some weird stuff going on when I first signed in this morning, so maybe there's an issue with the room or something. That's possible.
Yeah.
It's nothing that was purposefully done.
No, yep, absolutely. All right, guys, I think we're pretty much all set. Just waiting for a few months to put out their list here. Guys, by the way, over on YouTube, if you missed it, or even our members, if you missed it, on Friday, this Twitter thing is so good. What's the name of it? Let's go to Andrew's page here. By the way, look at our friend's setup here. Just looks amazing, Ed. So make sure you check out his room as well. But let's go to Andrew's page. We had our first, I forget the name of it because it's so new and I'm not really
Spaces, right?
Spaces. It's Spaces, right? That's what it's called.
Yeah.
Oh, it was so good, guys. So we're gonna be doing that every Friday. I'm looking to see how it is here. So look out. Make sure you sign up and follow Andrew at Bearable Traders. So that's the handle at Bearable Traders. And we're gonna be doing this every Friday. And the great thing about this that different than other
Did you see this?
platforms.
Did you see this tweet? He go
Oh
back
yes.
up. Stop hitting on me. That was awesome.
Yeah, yeah, that was great. I love this guy. I love. Listen, who needs Netflix when you have this? Yeah, it's I mean, free entertainment right on here. Um, Netflix could blame Twitter for that. Um, so yeah, guys, you want to come in here? That's hilarious, by the way. A lot of great stuff, a lot of fun stuff happening here. So if you don't have a Twitter account, maybe you want to consider signing up just for trading stuff. But the great thing about Spaces was that we were able to actually give members the mic and they were able to ask their questions. You could hear the voice instead of
Very
us
cool.
reading. Yeah, it was amazing. First time, I think it's the only platform that you can do that. Instead of me reading a message on like YouTube and then answering, you can actually hear the members. So it was great to hear voices other than our moderators, right? It was more of a conversation than just a presentation, and
We're
that was
getting
pretty neat.
some serious moves going on the market. Take a look at SPY, Apple, Facebook.
Oh yeah, look at it. SPY is green.
Yeah. We'll see how
It
long
was
it lasts. I
yeah,
haven't
it
seen
was
any news that would cause that.
yeah, interesting. Guys, 916, hit that thumbs up over on YouTube. Let's go ahead and set up our moderators lineup here. We're actually a bit on right on time, really. Let's go ahead and bring our moderators list over here. But as I am doing this and resizing this, hit that thumbs up over on YouTube. It does help us out a ton, so we appreciate that very, very much. We always like to be above 250 if we can. For those that have already hit that, thank you so much. We appreciate it. All right, let's bring our moderators list over here, my friends. And we will take a look at what the moderators like today. So let me just fix this here so you can still see our watch list right over there. Perfect. All right, so we have Tiffany first coming up with Tesla and Apple. Secondary list save Thor, Microsoft, Apple, and AMD. So heavy on the tech side this morning. He'll be watching scanners as well. Dima, Apple, AMD, Baba, and Oxy. Jared, light on trading this week for me, so no watch list for right now. Mike will be looking at Apple and Nvidia, Susan, ABT, IBM, IWM, Oracle, and she'll be looking at secondary list Tesla, Apple, and AMD. Brian will be looking at Save, Facebook, Tesla, VREU, and Six, which I believe is Six Flags. So we'll see what happens there. So, guys, thank you so much for joining us over on YouTube. We're gonna continue here on our chat room. We appreciate it very, very much, guys. For you guys joining us this evening. So thank you. Trade safe, and we will see you guys tonight. Onboarding class at 7 p.m. If you haven't signed up for yet, you still have time. Use the pre-market 24 with $24. You get access to tonight's class, and also for the rest of the week, 2 chat rooms, Ed's chat and also the main chat. So we'd love to see you guys in the chat room. Take care and trade safe.
Yeah. Take care, guys. Trade safe.